We are now a quarter of the way into the 21st century, and there is an incredible amount of development happening everywhere. From curing blindness to AI that can create playable games in minutes. Today we're going to take a look at 10 different technologies that are reshaping our world and bringing us closer to a future we once thought only possible in our imagination. The amount of progress that we made in 2024 was just incredible. We have people like David Shapiro saying that if 2024 was year 0 of AI, then 2025 is going to be year 1. And I believe it. Of course, we've had decades and decades of AI development, but it's finally getting to the point where, the average person can actually capitalize on the benefits that this technology brings to us. See, what I love about technology is that it's the product of our ability to solve the problems that we encounter. And one of the biggest problems we've had is that we're just trying to work out why the universe exists, why we exist, and if there's any other life out there. Well, fortunately, we're actually making steady progress to get there. We're inventing systems that increase our ability to learn, acquire new knowledge, and just experiment. This brings me on to the first and one of the most disruptive technologies, which is artificial general intelligence, or AGI for short. So AGI is a pretty vague term used to describe an artificial intelligence that is capable of doing any intellectual task that a human can. It should be able to adapt to its environment by learning, using reasoning, and applying the knowledge it's gained. Now, we arguably haven't achieved this level of AI yet. So a few examples that I include are Jarvis from Iron Man, Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey, and Samantha from Her. These systems all show the ability to function in a similar way to humans, but they aren't omniscient, but are shown to be capable of learning and adapting to dynamic environments. In 2024, we saw massive leaps in capability, with O1 capable of some level of reasoning, which allows it to go through a sort of chain of thought before it gives you the answer. Now in December, towards the end of the year, OpenAI actually unveiled O3, which was their more advanced model, and people's minds were absolutely blown with just how incredible and capable it was. The IQ of O1 was about 135, and O3 was said to be about 157, which is going into Albert Einstein territory. Now, many people were saying, this could be AGI. Whether it is or not is very, very debatable. I personally don't think we're there yet, but I also don't think we'll ever agree on when we actually hit AGI, and I don't really think it matters either. To be honest, what matters is how we use the technology that we gain. As well as this though, we're also starting to see the early signs of AI agents and multimodal AI, but we'll get more into that a bit later. So in 2025, we're going to see a lot more development happening. In fact, Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI, has said that he believes this is the year we're going to achieve AGI. Again, whether we do or not, very debatable, but regardless, it's going to be an incredible year for development in artificial intelligence. Just imagine how many more of life's great questions we can answer when our ability to research and develop becomes orders of magnitude more efficient. Not to forget how many new capabilities we unlock as AI becomes more advanced and accessible for the average person, which is why the second technology, multimodal AI, is such an exciting development. To put it simply, an AI is multimodal when it can process and integrate data from multiple modalities. This could be text, image, video, audio, and other files. So when you look at a large language model like ChatGPT or Claude, you may know that you can attach files to be used as a reference point. Well, our capabilities behind how well these AI tools can actually understand and generate content is growing rapidly. And there's no telling how much advancement we'll make in 2025. But we can make some educated guesses. Now, back in 2024, we had both commercial and open source models getting much better at generating content with much more coherent outputs. We've gone from creating really trippy and confusing visuals to ones that actually make sense and, they actually tie together nicely, at least mostly. Not only have the models become more intelligent, but we're also creating better methods like video to video, which can be used for free on tools like Runway Gen 3 Alpha. And also, Google recently unveiled Veo 2, one of the most powerful video generators we've ever seen. Now, there are definitely limitations in what we can do with this technology, but the progress we made in 2024 will continue accelerating into 2025 and beyond. Generations will be much more coherent, perhaps even to the point where it's near impossible to discern whether it's made by AI or not. This, combined with improved levels of control, will mean that creating the vision you have in your head becomes a lot easier and more impressive. I was actually playing around with a tool called Comfy UI, and it basically lets you use a wide variety of open source models and tools and connect them all together to create different workflows. Now, the level of control and creativity that allows you to do is absolutely incredible, but there is quite a steep learning curve, so I imagine that we'll see the more commercial models be used by the average person more often than not. But regardless, 2025 is definitely going to be a year that we start to see content creators in every industry start using AI to a much higher standard than it is now. I'm actually really interested to see what kind of creations we can get when we combine the creativity of the human mind with the power of these AI tools. In fact, it's for this reason that Agentic AI is the third technology on the list. If you don't already know, an AI is agentic when it's capable of performing a task autonomously based on the input data it has without the need for constant supervision. A good way to think about an AI agent is like an AI employee that you can delegate work to. You can assign them to be in charge of research, manage data, deal with customer service, and generate newsletters. I could keep going on, but my point is it allows you to automate the work that would normally have to be done by you or another human. So when we talk about AI agents, we're typically talking about the digital versions, where you're able to make automated workflows or build apps using AI copilots to help you code. Applications like Make.com, Windsurf, and Cursor are all examples of ways we can digitally set up AI agents. Some physical agents would be humanoid robots and self-driving cars, both of which we're starting to see in the real world today. So in 2024, we're able to see quite a bit of development with more capable software that brings the power of managing AI agents just to the average person. These solutions still require a fair amount of work on the user's side, so it isn't like you can just give it a single command and it'll create exactly what you want. Depending on what you're using the agents for, you still often have to work alongside it or prompt it fairly frequently in order to keep the workflow running smoothly, and again, coherently. But as we get further into 2025, this software is going to become significantly more capable at performing these tasks autonomously. At the moment, people use it to automate customer service for their business or to provide an automated weekly newsletter, but eventually the potential for what you can actually do with this will just be left to your imagination and creativity. For purpose-driven work, individuals could start creating one-man businesses where they just set up a bunch of AI agents to do a lot of the tasks that they would normally have to hire someone else to do. It allows them to focus on the bigger picture, the vision of the business that they're creating. And it really helps to have a fully aligned team of AI agents that just know exactly what you're working towards at any given point in time. Whereas when you have like normal human employees, they're just there for the money. They don't really care about what the vision of the company is, but they'll get on with the work and they'll just do it. These AI agents will be more aligned with the vision that you actually have, and they'll help you a lot more than a human worker would be able to in achieving that vision. Even businesses with full teams will be able to automate large parts, increasing productivity and overall efficiency by orders of magnitude. And honestly, this is a great way to lead onto the fourth technology, which is a form of AI agent, humanoid robots. Now, humanoid robots have been around for decades, but they've long been limited in what they can do. But as AI becomes more advanced and intelligent, and we start to enter the realms of AGI and autonomy, that's when we start to see humanoid robots gain real value and how they could integrate into our society. Some examples I'll include are Figaro 2, Optimus Bot, and Unitree G1. These all made great developments and have shown to be moderately capable at handling fairly basic real-world tasks, like handling and moving goods. As said before, AI agents are great at automating work typically done by a human. And humanoid robots are specifically designed to have physical capabilities similar to that of a human. Work like online tech support, content generation, and data handling are still definitely better done by a digital form of AI. But a humanoid robot will be ideal in tackling the physical work, like starting with customer service roles in shops and at home, and then as their capabilities improve, they'll be able to operate in unpredictable environments, such as, construction sites and just everything you can think of that we currently do for labor. Now, before people get worried about, the fact that this could take all of our jobs and cause mass unemployment, the general idea that people are having is that these robots will have some form of tax applied to them, where the revenue that they're producing, let's say 10% of that or whatever it end up being, is distributed equally among everybody universally. So everybody will have some form of UBI or UHI, which is universal high income, as Elon Musk has put it. And on top of this, because of the increased efficiency in manufacturing, the price of goods and services should drop drastically, meaning people will not only have more time and energy to do what they want, but it'll also be a lot cheaper to live a comfortable and fulfilling life. Now, how all of this will actually play out is still yet to be seen, and I'm sure there'll be hiccups along the way. But this has such massive potential to change just how society functions as a whole in a very positive way. It could free us from spending most of our life just doing labor, and instead we could go from survival-driven work to more purpose-driven work where, where we spend our time doing things that are actually intrinsically valuable to us, intrinsically motivating. Now, in 2025, we're going to see them integrate with advanced AI models that allow them to not only learn how to operate in an environment, but it also give them the power of these highly intelligent and capable multimodal LLMs that we mentioned earlier. This will really allow these humanoid robots to function well in our predominantly human society. Figaro are currently working on Figaro 3, an improvement over their previous model, O2, that will use OpenAI's best LLMs. We've already seen Figure working alongside BMW in manufacturing, and this will undoubtedly continue developing. Optimus Bot by Tesla will also start being produced in limited numbers by Q2 of 2025, and they're already using it in their production lines. Plus, Elon Musk currently owns the most powerful AI supercomputer on the planet, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of development happening there within the next few years. And in fact, the fifth technology on the list makes perfect use of this, with that being Tesla Robotaxi and full self-driving. So you're probably already aware, but Tesla FSD is an AI system that is intended to solve self-driving. It uses 8 cameras for vision and an advanced AI compute system that processes all of the data it gains from the billions of miles driven by Teslas around the world. You see, there's over 1 million deaths every year just based on human error. You know, people can become drunk, they can get tired, they can get distracted, they can get emotional, angry, all of these things that just cause people to act irrationally when driving. And considering how dangerous driving is, these things are better done by a system that isn't distracted, has 360-degree vision, and is just more focused at all times. So the goal with self-driving is to improve safety and reduce the number of accidents and deaths that are caused by reckless driving. Now, the idea behind Robotaxi is that they want to disrupt the transport industry, directly challenging companies like Uber, Lyft, and Waymo by releasing their own fleet of fully autonomous taxis. Not only would their solution be significantly cheaper than Uber and the others, but they've already laid out the foundations with millions of Teslas on the road already. All of these could theoretically be added onto this fleet. Tesla recently released version 13 of full self-driving, and it is blowing people's minds in how impressive it is. It's driving for hundreds of miles without any intervention and proving to be more capable than humans in a lot of situations. Honestly, there are hundreds of videos online about how impressive the new update is, so check them out if you need to. But in October 2024, we saw Tesla hold its We Robot event that highlighted some of the future developments, like the Cybercab, an autonomous 2-seater vehicle with no steering wheel or pedals. This is designed to be used either as a personal vehicle or as part of the Robotaxi fleet. Now, this fleet comprises vehicles owned by Tesla as well as personal vehicles, as people will be able to add their own car to the fleet of robotaxis, earning them money passively over time. Think about how often your car is just sat there collecting dust. You know, you're at work or you're out and you're just not using it. You probably only realistically use your car for a couple hours per day. Now, all those other hours, let's say even 10 hours a day, you assign it to this fleet of robotaxis and it's earning you that money like an Uber would, you know, as if you were an Uber driver, but you're not the one doing the driving. Now, whether you want to put your own personal vehicle on this fleet or own vehicles specifically for this purpose is up to you, but the implications are huge either way. So in 2025, we'll be seeing the first Teslas to gain unsupervised full self-driving in Texas and California. When this happens, it'll be really hard for people to not have faith that self-driving not only works, but is more capable than human drivers. As I mentioned before, Tesla have ambitions and are in the process of creating the largest supercomputers in the world. Cortex is part of Elon's strategy to deploy supercomputers like the Memphis supercomputer that houses 100,000 NVIDIA GPUs, as well as Dojo supercomputer, which is specialized in training for full self-driving. This push for compute power is what will allow Elon to become a dominant player in the AI field, not only with Tesla, but with Optimus Bot, Grok, and even SpaceX. Elon Musk is actually working on the 6th technology on the list, and that is Neuralink, or just brain-computer interfaces. A BCI is a device that is implanted into the brain and allows for direct communication between your brain and an external device, such as a computer or an artificial limb. There are many examples of companies working on BCIs, but I'm going to be focusing on Neuralink as this is the one I've been following and I see massive potential in it. So in 2024, we had the first 2 human trials. Those were both a success and allowed the patients to regain functionalities that they had previously lost. For Nolan, this meant playing games again, from chess and even to Mario Kart. For Alex, this meant playing Counter-Strike and using CAD software. However, going into 2025, the team at Neuralink are aiming to implant the chip in up to 8 more patients, which would bring the total number of human implants up to the double digits. Not only this, but there are actually 2 more projects that they're working on currently. The first being Convoy, which aims to enable paralyzed individuals to control artificial limbs using their implant. And the second being Blindsight, which aims to restore vision in blind people, which is incredible. Like, that's such a big pursuit. These are both extremely ambitious, and while we've seen artificial limbs being controlled before, what we're seeing is both the hardware and software becoming more capable, to the point where eventually it could be just as functional as the original limb. And the same goes with their aim to cure blindness. See, early on, this would be pretty low quality, but as they increase the number of electrodes and improve their methods, we could see blindness become a problem of the past, and even enhance our existing vision by augmenting it with this technology. The The goal behind Neuralink in the early days is to enable people with disabilities to live less restricted lives and regain key functionalities. But ultimately, their hope is to improve our cognitive abilities and transcend what we're currently capable of. This is intended to bridge the gap between humans and AI in terms of cognitive ability, allowing us to keep up with AI as the intelligence behind it improves. At the moment, we're able to control games with it. But imagine when we're experiencing the game through the Neuralink, where your senses are being tricked into believing that what you're seeing, feeling, and hearing are all real. Well, that's more than likely a while off, but in the meantime, we have advancements in the seventh technology that are set to make some big changes, and that is mixed reality. Mixed reality is a spectrum that includes augmented reality, virtual reality, and anything in between. It's a merging of the real world with virtual worlds and is quickly improving. Where we typically experience virtual worlds through like a TV or a monitor, the technology behind mixed reality is getting immersive enough to the point where it warrants actually using. Examples would include the Apple Vision Pro and the Meta Quest 3, although there are many other companies currently contributing to this development. In 2024, we had some pretty big showcases. Not only did Apple join the market with their very expensive but also impressive product, the Apple Vision Pro, but we also saw Meta announce their proof of concept Orion project. This aims to bring us mixed reality in a much smaller form factor, bringing us closer to the form factor of glasses rather than the big bulky headsets that we get at the moment. The large form factor that we have at the moment is one of the main things that hold people back from actually wanting to adopt this technology. No one wants to be walking around in public with this big old headset that just, makes you stand out and just look strange, right? So going into 2025, there's no doubt that many more companies will be pushing for this smaller form factor. And we'll see this both through the headsets and also the peripherals that we control them with. This was seen with Meta's Neural wristband they announced alongside the Orion glasses. This acted as an input device for the Orion glasses. In addition to this, as is the trend with any new product that releases, we're likely to see AI being integrated into these devices. We would be provided with real-time information on anything we're looking at or interacting with, or even an assistant to help us in our daily activities. We've also seen Meta try and push for virtual workspaces, where you can collaborate with other people, and to be honest, this is pushing us further and further into a digital era. I can really see the value in having virtual workspaces or environments for people to interact with each other in, especially with games like VR chat being so popular. But one of the bigger achievements we're likely to see is Google joining the game with their Android XR, an operating system which aims to create a platform for everyone involved. One of the main reasons this is so big is because Google already has a built-up ecosystem. They already have a lot that they can bring to the table. You get all the Google apps like the Play Store, YouTube, Google Chrome, and we could see this be accessible on most devices, which would help build up the ecosystem into a much more capable one than it is today. Not only are Google getting to this market, but other big companies like Samsung and Sony are also doing the same. So there's no doubt that 2025 is going to be a huge year for mixed reality. Now, of course, with all this new technology coming out, there's an increased need for security, transparency, and ideally a decentralized system to prevent power from being concentrated and used against the masses. This is why it's incredible to see our eighth technology, blockchain and crypto, gaining popularity not only with individuals, but even with countries. So what is the blockchain? To put it simply, it's a decentralized system that allows for data to be encrypted, stored, and managed in a way that remains transparent, secure, and immutable, meaning it's extremely difficult for data to be tampered with. Crypto then are digital assets or currencies that are stored on the blockchain and act as a peer-to-peer payment system that doesn't rely on a middleman, like the bank. Due to this decentralized approach, many governments were trying to heavily regulate crypto or find ways to control it. But the importance of the blockchain is that it's decentralized and therefore it isn't controlled by one single entity. This is why in 2024, we saw many big institutions adopt this technology, with major companies integrating blockchain to aid in supply chain, finance, and identity verification. But to be honest, this is only the tip of the iceberg, as in 2025, Donald Trump is set to be put in power, and he has big plans for all of this. Firstly, the USA have already stated that they're planning to own 1 million Bitcoin. And you can bet they're not the only ones that are wanting to get their hands in there. From other countries to companies and individuals, there will be a big push for this digital, decentralized currency. Not only this, but there is a clear objective with a Trump presidency for deregulation and reducing government oversight, which means we'll likely see a lot of the restrictions lifted. In fact, it'll be interesting to see how the blockchain is used, as there's so much potential for it to just increase transparency and security among all these different varying technologies that we have, especially as data becomes more and more prevalent in our digital society. There's this idea of a DAO, or a decentralized autonomous organization. This would use systems like smart contracts to automate decisions that could traditionally be subject to human bias. This approach pushes for transparency and aims to prevent concentration of power. As I said, the blockchain is an extremely secure platform for data to be stored on. Decrypting it would take the best quantum computers in the world, and even then, it would still be extremely difficult, which is why the 9th technology on the list is quantum computing. Alright, so quantum computing is a little bit confusing, and honestly, even the scientists working on it don't really understand it either. But the general idea is that quantum computing is an emergent field of computer science that harnesses the power of quantum mechanics to solve problems beyond the ability of even the best supercomputers in the world. Where classical computers use binary bits, which consist of ones and zeros, qubits use ones, zeros, or a weighted combination of both, meaning it can scale exponentially. Towards the end of 2024, Google announced Willow, a 105 qubit chip that was able to solve a problem in only a few minutes that would take a classical computer 10 septillion years. Now, a reason it was able to do this is because it made breakthroughs in error correction, which is essential for quantum computers as physical qubits are prone to errors. This is due to interference or noise from the environment. In fact, this push for quantum error correction is why logical qubits are likely to be a big focal point of innovation in 2025. Logical qubits are error-corrected qubits that combine multiple physical qubits into a single, reliable unit to achieve stability and reliability. One thing that solving logical qubits would enable is quantum chemistry. This basically means we'd be able to accurately simulate molecular structures and chemical reactions that would be impossible on traditional computers. This could aid in drug discovery and material science, opening up a new door for technological innovation. Of course, with AI becoming more and more advanced every day, there's no doubt that quantum computing will be used to enhance AI's rate of growth, although there will likely also be a strong push for quantum safe encryption. As with more powerful technology comes more danger of security. There's no doubt that quantum computing is picking up though, and we will see a lot more development happen in 2025, especially in terms of commercial use. Now, the technology coming in at number 10 has seen a lot of improvements over the last few years, and the next few years are going to be even better. Game development is the process of creating a game. From designing the story, to the game world, to the gameplay and characters, there is so much that goes into making a game immersive and enjoyable. AI is set to completely change how game development is done. In 2024, we saw tools like Oasis AI, which was capable of generating a playable version of Minecraft from scratch, as well as Genie 2, an extremely impressive bit of software that's able to turn a single image into a somewhat playable game. Now, of course, all of this is still in the early days, but there's no doubt that the developments we see in 2025 will completely change the game. Literally. In 2025, we'll be able to generate much more coherent game worlds, characters, items, stories, and so much more using AI. When developers are able to generate a lot of unique content for their games, it will allow for worlds that have enterable buildings with unique interiors, or environments that are not only large, but actually contain engaging, playable content. And of course, this all becomes significantly easier to make, meaning game developers will be able to spend less time on the boring stuff and more time on refining the games they create and polishing them into creations that would previously have taken way too much time to create, and refining it and just polishing it into a creative work that is just immaculate and nothing like we can even do today with the limited time, resources, and compute power that we have. The integration of natural language processing is another feature that has big impacts for how it could affect the games we play. Imagine being able to hold a proper conversation with an NPC where they can understand what you say and can respond accordingly, where your interactions with them have an impact on how your game plays out. Now, if this kind of thing interests you, then I really recommend checking out my last video where I turn these boring NPCs into much more lifelike and intelligent characters. Otherwise, I really hope you enjoyed this video and are just as excited as I am for the future of technology. But until next time, thanks for watching.